Here we go, ladies, ladies, ladies. It's Wine and Design at 4:30, 4:34. Sorry, guys. How are you? And welcome to Wine and Design on a Friday afternoon. We have the ladies here, lovely ladies that have joined me today, have just witnessed me fumbling around, getting these slides together at the very last minute. But anyway, that is all that stress is gone. Welcome to Wine and Design. I've got the most fun little half an hour planned for us. I've got the two wonderful ladies here. We've got Sophie Kost from My Beautiful Abode and Tania from Green Room Interiors. And we're going to talk styling. Ladies, how are you?
Fantastic. Very well, Adam. Thank you.
How's your week been, Sophie? I'm okay, darling. I've got a wine here. How's your week been?
Good. We're still learning the juggle of children being home.
You got the kids at home. Yeah. How many kids?
I've got two boys, one in year 7 and one in grade 4.
Oh, okay. So you're doing that. Everyone's at home.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you need a drink, I'd say, Sophie.
You've
got something there. What have you got? It's Wine and Design. What have you got?
I've got a Shiraz.
It's a Shiraz. Great. Well, let's have just 1 second. We'll have a toast. We'll have a toast together. Tania, how are you?
I'm good, Adam. How are you?
I'm good, my dear. How's your week been?
It's been very busy. I've been Zooming all over the place.
Have you been on Zoom?
I've been on Zoom and I've been doing a lot of work on my business and working with my business coach, catching up with colleagues. I actually caught up with Sophie online earlier in the week. So, yeah, keeping my days busy and working on my business, doing a lot of behind-the-scenes admin stuff.
That could be a whole other discussion, couldn't it? Working on our business.
Yeah.
Look, I think we're all in the same position. I think it doesn't matter whether you're a designer, decorator or whatever, whoever. I guess if you're spending this time working on your business from home, that's a really good thing. Today, though, we're going to be talking about styling. And I don't know about you ladies. Actually, we had a bit of a chat, didn't we, the other day, just to jump on and sort ourselves out in terms of what we're going to do. But I just feel like we need to we can turn on the news, hear about whatever's going to happen the next few weeks. Hopefully things will ease up a bit for us here in Australia because everything's being managed pretty well. But, just sort of thinking, isn't it good? Let's just have a look at some pretty pictures. We all love styling and we're all interior decorators on the call. So if you're watching us, if you've jumped on, we've got 3 interior stylists, designers, whatever you want to call us. We're going to show you some lovely images that I've compiled, and we're just going to have a fun old chit chat and talk about some of the ideas behind these images and how they've been approached by 3 wonderful stylists here. So on that note, before we kick off, ladies, grab your wine and let's have a salute.
Thank goodness.
Salute.
Salute.
Yes. You got white, Tania.
Yeah, I've actually got the low alcohol wine because I want to keep my wits about me right now.
Oh, darling, don't worry about that. Mine, I make sure it's full strength. So it just makes it all a lot easier for me. It might look terrible when I start to stutter and slur, but look, I'm having a good time. So that's all that matters.
We're only chatting for half an hour or so. It shouldn't be that.
We're only chatting for half an hour. But look, ladies, let's jump on and do the slides because I thought it'd be lovely to share some of these lovely images that you guys have shared. So thank you very much for that. So I'm going to share our screen and show everybody. We're in good motion. We've got our graphic there, which is jumping around, but we can see full screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. We've got today, I don't know how this is going to go, ladies. Is it going to go back to normal or is it just going to keep zooming in on my double chin there? But we've got some lovely images, bedrooms. We've got some styling shots for coffee tables, consoles. So if anybody out there wants some ideas, this is a good spot to get them. And I'd love to hear ladies, what the thought process was behind some of these lovely images from some of your projects. And we're just going to have a bit of a share. Tania, I've got a few of yours. Sophie got some great ones. We've got some before and after shots and just some lovely styling. So I'm going to move to the first slide, which is this beautiful bedroom. This is lovely.
Yes.
Tania, tell us about this one.
Well, this was a client of mine up in the Dandenong Ranges in Melbourne, so a beautiful bush setting. And this is their guest bedroom. And the client already had the bed and the bedside table. and she wanted to dress it up and make it more welcoming for her guests. So the suburb where she lives is actually next door neighbour to Cockatoo. So I thought, well, what better place to start with is a print of a cockatoo. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but a lot of bird wildlife around that area, and the gorgeous lamp with the a peacock on there. So that set the scene actually for the room with the hints of yellow and cerise, actually a little bit of that greeny yellow. And
I love that colour.
Yeah. So it's actually a really serene room, and I thought we'd go with a bit of the black and white, as well as just that hint of green in the sheets on the bed.
I love this bedroom. Like, I love everything about it. I love the lampshade. I just love all the styling. Can I ask you, Tania, the lampshade, is that a custom lampshade?
Well, look, I must admit that actually wasn't something that I sourced. The client already had it. Yeah. So we just worked around that, and that actually was the starting point, along with the bird print that I sourced, and then we just worked from there. So yeah,
I love it. I love it.
Stunning. Yeah.
Yeah. Tania, how do you approach colour? So do you take it from an existing source like the lamp? Was that the kickoff point, or how do you generally go about putting a colour palette together?
Yeah, look, I did in this particular instance, I did start with the lamp, and because of the furniture being a lot of white, I wanted to then bring in some black to balance that out. And yeah, just those tiny accents of those colours that I drew out from the lamp. So like a lot of the time where we start with an artwork in a room, and we then draw out colours and, bring that into the space and create a whole scheme around that.
Yeah, and the bedding's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, to me, I see that lovely, I can't remember the word. What did you call it? What's the type of green, Tania?
Oh, I think it's called
chartreuse.
Chartreuse.
Oh,
that's
chartreuse.
Right. I said cerise, but it's
cerise, chartreuse. I mean, I love, the chartreuse to me is in the peacocks.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, parrot. Is it? Parrot.
No, cockatoo.
Cockatoo. God, I'm terrible with birds. Wouldn't have a clue what they are. But it's good, isn't it? Because it's very simple. You got the black, you got the chartreuse, and then you got white. And I find that when you have, I don't know about you, Sophie, I find sometimes if you really want to keep it clean and simple, just three, like black, chartreuse, white, and you kind of can't go wrong. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that being pared back in your choice of styling works really well when it's a pared back colour palette as well. I think that the repeating threes or an uneven number is just, there's something gorgeous about that.
Yeah, you just said uneven numbers, Sophie. That's what I think of with the styling too, and we'll see some more like examples of that. So really lovely, Tania, this bedroom. Can I just talk to you about your next bedroom? This is another one which is different altogether, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Tell us about this one.
Well, this one was it's actually down on Phillip Island, this home, and the client she bought this townhouse and she wanted everything brand new. So we started with from scratch with a bare palette, and I chose the warm timber bedside and the bed with wanted to create a little bit of height in the room, because we tend to pile our beds with pillows these days. So having a higher than average bed head would help with the proportions in the room. And the client was in love with, she was a single lady, so she wanted to make it feminine. So we went with some beautiful blush colours, and that gorgeous throw on the end of the bed I had commissioned by a woman who, just a little maker, I actually sourced on Instagram, where I get a lot of my products from. And she
share that, Tania, with me.
I can do. I'll have to look it up because I can't quite remember now, but I can certainly send that through. But yeah, she hand knitted that with the massive big wool and the big needles, so really chunky.
So cool.
I love that. I love those. The table knit. Is that what we're calling them?
Oh,
Is it or not?
It might be pearl and
is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
What I love about it, Tanya, I love the colorway. I love the sort of the really dusty. I mean, it's sort of a dusty pink to a soft coral, and then that beautiful sort of soft blue.
Yes.
I mean, it makes the bed, doesn't it? That huge.
It does.
Open
width. And we've also got the copper accents in the lamp and in the little mirror behind the vase and the candle.
Which sits really well with the timber bedhead, yeah.
That's what you were talking about, Sophie, with the, I think you just said in sets of threes is a good way to approach decorating, isn't it? And like this is a good example of that. So Tanya, with the mirror, you know, that is really, that hexagon shape is really cool because it's just sitting there as your sort of midpoint. And then if you want to take some styling tips out of this session, then you've got the larger vase, which has sort of looks like a native flower or something in there. But just that sort of, you know, you've got your hexagon as this sort of grounding shape, a mirror too, which is a lovely touch because it reflects not only the lovely simple vase, but you've also got the candle, and having that on, you're going to see double the flicker. It's just a sweet little, like this would be great, wouldn't it, ladies, if you're sort of mooching into a guest bedroom at someone's house, and it's always good to have it nicely styled, but not overdone as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So you don't feel that there's too much of the homeowner's personality in the room, that you can kind of feel comfortable.
Step into the space,
Yeah, so that's gorgeous. Really lovely rooms. That's not the same client. No, this is a different.
No,
client.
different
Job altogether. Very different style. Very nice. This is mine, ladies. I thought I'd throw a bedroom in here. Do you know what? I just put this one in because I thought one thing I did think with the after of this bedroom is I thought it looked to me, and this is just me looking at my own photo actually, but to me it looked as if the curtains were probably new if you didn't look at the before.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I'm doing the spot the difference.
Spot the difference. That's what I love about before and afters. And
they're great.
Yeah, we didn't change them at all. I just went with it. And the first thing because this was like the real estate shot of the owner that bought it that before, and she was like, oh, it's really granny, and should we tear down those curtains? And they were in good nick. They were lined and they weren't sort of soiled or anything. And I said, look, let's just go with it. So this one here, I just added a bench seat into the existing bay window, and I did a really cool pattern there. And just went between greys and pinks and some of that soft sort of minty green. And again, what we were saying just about colours in general, just try not to add too many colours other than that sort of three colour palette.
Yeah.
Which
and
I just
have you got a mirror behind each lamp? I can't see.
Yeah, I've got a mirror. Yeah, behind the lamps. I love that.
Beautiful.
That idea. Bit like Tanya's. So just some sort of mirror there. I just think it can help with stopping the walls. Sometimes if you just have a bedside lamp and a bedside table and lamps, it can feel a bit flat. So I think sometimes it feels like you need to have, I love mirrors, beside beds. I don't know why, but that was one from Neutral Bay I did about 3 or 4 years ago. Lovely living rooms. So we've got some living room ideas here. I wanted to talk to you about this one, Sophie, because I think this is a great transformation.
It was a fabulous project. This is from last year. We changed almost all the soft furnishings. We changed the carpet and the wall colour. We got rid of the tiled drop ceiling.
I see that.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
And we got rid of the chandelier as well. So the room's actually quite long. And there was this big empty space, and the position of the pendant light didn't work in the room. So I completely changed the layout of the room. We made a L-shaped modular sofa and an armchair so that the TV didn't end up being the focal point.
Yes. And I think we have another picture of this after as well as
in the opposite direction. Yeah.
Can I ask you a couple of questions?
We got rid of the old velvet curtains and pelmets that had been there since the house was built. So they were about 40 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So changing the window furnishings was really key.
Yeah. Sophie, was this the same client? Is this their existing house and they didn't update, or somebody purchased it and then asked you to come in?
No, this was the clients have lived in their house for 20 years or so.
And how did you approach the brief? Because it's quite a obviously traditional style. Yes. And you've totally changed it. It's light and airy and it's nothing like it was. So what was the brief from the client and how did you kind of adapt?
So it was very much needed to be a grown-ups room. So we went a little bit luxe with the materials that we chose, but also a place that you could go hang out at the end of the day. And what part of the brief was to be able to have a nap on the sofa.
Lovely.
Yeah.
We needed to bring some artwork into the room. The artwork that was there was very much scaled down. And so I wanted to be able to bring some texture and interest into the space. So as lovely as velvet is for texture, it wasn't doing the room any favours. So we moved across to a linen curtain. We brought in the chenille for that lustre on the sofa. We've got some texture in that artwork beside the fireplace that we carried through to that occasional chair that means that we've now got almost like a triangle so that we could have a conversation, use it as a grown-up space where people go to talk.
That was one of the first things, Sophie, was that the artwork it just feels so much more modern, doesn't it? Don't you think, Tanya?
Yeah.
It's refreshed.
You know what I'm loving there, Sophie, is the introduction of all the curves. So the proportion of the coffee table with the mirror above the fireplace, that's just perfect. And then you've got that little side table hidden behind the arm of the sofa in this circle shape as well. I really love that because it brings a little bit of softness to the room.
Definitely. And I love the little side tables next to the lovely occasional chair, because that's another thing that's good, isn't it, ladies, is to have these little occasional tables. You can pull them out. And if one wants to have a cup of tea over that side of the room, or one wants to pull the table over and do this or that, they can. But what a transformation, because that's how many houses, we probably all know people that have the before image as their current home.
Yes.
And I don't know what, a lot of it is those sort of quite, they're beige sort of antique cream colours, and then it feels like people they're really not sure where to go with colour, so they might do a dark maroon or a dark navy, and that's it, because they're too afraid to make a mistake. So this is where you see the after. I had to look twice. I said, this is the same room here. But so much more modern and fresh, and I bet they were just thrilled. It's a lovely outcome.
Yeah. Since then, we've moved on to do further rooms through the house. Yeah.
Lovely. I think I've got another picture too, because you said it was an L shape.
Yes.
Is this the same place? Look at the softness and how different that feels.
Yes. So that's the picture on the left is the same room, just looking back from where the photographer was earlier. So behind the sofa is a dining table now, where there was just this huge space that wasn't being used properly. And then the little room behind that was the dining room that they didn't use. So it was just they had to walk around the table to get from the kitchen. So we've repurposed that space with a smaller table to the side that is like the coffee catch-up little girlfriend's nook, but the middle of the room is now being able to be used as a walkthrough. Yeah.
Fantastic. So one thing that strikes me with this particular image of that same room is just the way all of the colour, nothing screams out at you, but there's enough interest in there for it to feel updated and modern. Did you, with the colour palette, you changed obviously the wall colours?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they wanted neutral. They wanted a calm feeling. They wanted it to be very relaxing. So, so it didn't become a boring space. We worked with texture to transition through the space.
Sophie, how do you approach a colour palette? Do you sort of get the fabrics out with the paint chips? How do you do? Where do you start?
For this room, at that first meeting, I knew that the painting that I ended up having beside the fireplace was going to be the key that everything was unlocked from.
Right.
Yeah.
So an inspirational piece and take the colour from that.
Yep, absolutely.
Beautiful. And take the colour from that.
Yep, absolutely.
Beautiful. Yep. And then we've got another quite modern, really nice pastels, interesting art on the other side.
Yes. So this was very much the good room in the house. So
different project.
Different project, different client. This one was about there's a beautiful fireplace that the coffee table's adjacent to. So that room was really about having comfortable furniture that you could go and really use in wintertime. That's the goal for this room. So particularly of a night time. So we sourced artwork that was just going to be uplifting and happy and colourful. So there's lots of florals and some abstract art that is super colourful, lots of pastel and even brighter colours. And then further through the room, I haven't shown you these pictures, but there's a fantastic photograph of a Italian beach that just, takes you away. Yeah.
Lovely. Sophie, is that a bit of a theme of yours? Because I can see the round coffee table breaking up, the rectangle sofas, and styling's really nice and simple there too. Is that something you tend to focus on, or do you recommend doing in a room, is to kind of break up all of that? Sometimes it can be very rectangle.
Yes. I don't like hitting my shin on the edge of the coffee table.
No, especially when you've got kids as well.
So I love softening all the shapes so that it's not all those hard lines. This room already had the shutters in it, so the sofa, I wanted a much more relaxed shape than a square arm sofa, and the room needed softening. So very much the shapes that I chose for the furnishings were very much part of that, as well as the artwork.
Very nice, lovely images and lovely work.
Thank you.
Just very it's so calming, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just going to jump into your next one. Thanks, Sophie. This one here, tell us about this, Tania. You've got a very eclectic style, I think.
Well, yeah, eclectic. I'd like to think that I'm known for my love of retro and colour. That's what I really love to work with. And when people say they want to inject a lot of colour, I go, yes.
Fabulous.
Now, this little shot on the left was actually a very large part of, it's a little section of a very large bedroom, a master bedroom, where clients of mine in Ringwood East had extended their house, and they wanted a really big retreat for the grown-ups. So I commissioned a couple of chairs to go in this corner that overlooked their garden, and then popped a little side table in between. So yeah, just some simple little native flowers in a vase with a candle really was all that was needed in that shot.
That's a nice little styling tip, isn't it? I mean, how often all you need really for a little sort of side table is just a lovely casual bunch, just sort of twisted in
like
there.
A posy.
The posy, put them in, and a candle burning.
Yep.
And if you're kind of rushed for time and you can't spend a lot of time, that's probably one of the simplest things you can do, isn't it, to do if you've just got to get something on there and make it look presentable, especially if you have people coming over.
That's right. And you can even just pop out into your garden and pick a bit of greenery off the bush. Or
I've been known in the midst of winter to pop out to raid the parsley when there's slim pickings out there.
Oh, another designer does that too, Sophie. Do you guys know Jeffrey Allen Marks? He was on $1 Million Decorators. He has a line of, he's a designer in the US, but he would regularly, in his photo shoots too, he pulls out, like you were saying, Sophie, parsley, or like a huge big thing of, I don't know what it is, but it's even spinach leaves.
Yeah.
Just
cabbage,
Yeah, cabbage,
cool.
Stuff like that. So that's the way to go, I think. You could probably, I don't know if you'd eat it afterwards, but I love these colours. And I just realised it's a kitty cat.
Oh, yes. Now, that was quite funny because when we did, this is a different home, and my client, when I arrived with my photographer, the cat was just sitting there and rolled up or curled up, and I just went, I think we just need to leave him there. He'll be fine in the photos.
It's very sweet.
He actually coordinated very well with the colour scheme, so he was part of the props.
These are beautiful fabrics too, Tania. Did you, I particularly love the floral with the sort of almost burnt orange to the back of it. Is that something you sourced and made up, or?
Yeah, well, look, these cushions were readily available, and the throw from a retailer, and it was just the finishing touches. Like the sofa was existing, the coffee table was existing, and then the other bits and pieces I just styled with. But the great thing about this home is that the client had a real retro feel to her. Her aesthetic was retro. So her and I got on like a house on fire. And so I wanted to keep a little bit of that, you know, the retro colours. So the mustard was a big part of the interior, as well as the teal, because I think mustard and teal are really well matched.
Oh, they look good together, don't they?
Yeah, and then we just brought in a bit of that soft lavender. There's another, you can kind of see just at the very top of the image, there's a frame of some artwork that's on the wall, and they were some Egyptian prints that the client had found and she had reframed, and it had a little bit of that lavender colorway in it. So that's where I brought that in to complement the orange, sorry, the teal and the amber, or the mustard color. So it went perfect together.
I love it. I love the color palette there, Tania. Sorry, Tania, I just had a message pop up.
Yeah.
So Jane Thompson saying, hi, lovely ladies. Hi, Adam and lovely ladies. So we've got Jane, one of our fellow designers, having a good peruse. Can I ask you, Tania, how do you approach a color palette? Do you have an inspiration, or how do you work with, what's your starting point?
Yeah, look, it's funny. I think I sometimes it just happens. Like it's kind of, I don't know, it comes from within. It's innate with me. I think I've got this. I think I've got this sixth sense when it comes to what works. You know, I don't know. With this particular home, it was just, I got the cue from the well, just the fact that it was a retro home. So I just went, okay, retro. What do I know about retro? We have amber, we have teal, we have a tiny bit of orange, burnt orange, or even a sort of pinky red, and we just built it from there. So it was a real organic process, this one, for this home, because we didn't really have a starting point.
That's the one thing I noticed with your interiors, Tania, is you've got colorways that they work really well together, but they're not obvious choices. They're not like, okay, so I've got a grey, a grey wall, and I'll put this pink or whatever, or, it's blue, so I'll use some yellow, complementary color. It's kind of just this, I don't know, it all works together, but to the regular, for lack of a better word, Joe, it mightn't seem that they would if you sort of isolated each piece.
Separate.
But
Definitely.
you put them together and it's like, oh, okay, this really works.
Yeah. And I think that's it's a true sign of a really talented decorator or designer. I think the fact that we have this, I don't know, this innate sense of what works well together. And it's interesting because I talk to my colleagues, and sometimes they say to me, wow, Tania, you're really good with putting colours together. And I think, well, shouldn't every designer be like that? But yeah, it just comes naturally for me. So
when that's helpful too, Tania, when you've got to work with people's existing pieces, and they'll have pieces, and Sophie, of course, like don't you find that when you've got to go in and work with a chair and that has a specific pattern in the fabric and they won't let go of it, or even a really odd coloured like leather sofa or fabric sofa that they don't want to get rid of, or just if things like that, I think that's where the talent, that's where your talent comes in. If you're thinking of hiring an interior decorator to help you, that's normally where they can help you. I'm just talking about specifically what you were saying, Tania, is it's about how do you make what isn't obvious in terms of how that's going to fit in a new colour scheme? How do you make what you've got work, and how do you create a scheme that isn't going to be so obvious to the everyday Tom? You do need a talent to be able to work that out.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely agree with that. I'm going to move on. We've got some consoles and coffee tables here. Oh my gosh, Sophie.
Stunning.
Oh my God. You think the same, don't you, Tanya?
Oh, I love that one on the right. That's actually
my
Sophie's
God.
home, isn't it, Sophie?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sophie, has this been published? This living room shot?
The one on the left or the right?
So you got, this is what, I don't know if we're seeing left and right the same way. Right to me is...
the close-up one or the whole room?
The coffee table one.
Close-up one is to me with the florals, just the floral focus. And then the other one is with the sofa and the coffee table.
Yep.
And there's nothing I don't love about what you've done here.
Oh, thank you so much.
But it's the same principle. And this is the versatility, Sophie. Like I was looking at you earlier, and this is the other thing too, is the versatility between creating that really muted, neutral palette for that other client, bringing them up to date, still having some sort of zing in the art, but still keeping it neutral. But this is your own home. And I look at that rug and I think there's all the colours of the rainbow in that, but and then everything outside of that is also not so obvious in the way that you put it together. So can I ask you about your rationale when this is your own place?
No, that one's not my house.
Oh, it's not yours, sorry.
No. So the one with the sofa is not my house. I did that for a client. That's a family home. And that sofa is the sofa in the house. Like that's the 4 people snuggling in. It's like a 3.5 metre long sofa. So that one was all about that. When we arrived at that house, the client had just purchased, and we had one of those sneaky little site visits before they had handover.
Yeah.
So it was empty. It was white tiles, white walls, white blinds, white ceiling, and all of those things were staying as they were. So we needed to furnish the space so that it, instantly the client was such a warm, lovely person. She needed the warmth and colour to reflect who she was, and that it's a family space, and you can't possibly make that a don't touch anything feeling.
It feels very livable. Like it feels like if I want to go and lay on there and God forbid I might throw a shoe up or something, it's not, nobody's going to run in and sort of grab it by the ear. Yeah. And just a beautiful colour palette too. What was the rug, or was the rug the start of the idea, or where did this sort of the colour palette come out?
It was. We started with the rug. The artwork was one of the last things we found.
Works beautifully,
and
doesn't it?
I had presented about 6 different ideas for artwork. It's like, no. And then this one struck a chord, and I had been looking at just a single large piece and had to change tact because it wasn't hitting the mark. And this one really, it sings, doesn't it?
Yeah,
art's really personal, isn't it, Sophie?
Yeah.
Like when you're working.
Oh my gosh, yes. Do
you find?
It's a really important conversation to have early on. I like to bring a few art catalogues to an initial consultation and watch somebody look at the pictures, because a lot of people can't articulate what they do and don't like. It's a really difficult language to communicate. And so you know, I'll see the eyebrow go up, or the lips purse, or the, oh my gosh, it's orange, I can't stand it, or whatever. And I get all the cues about, okay, got to move away from that, focus on this. That I have a feeling this might work. So it's very much a conversation of, so if I show you this, how do you feel? And I bet you you'll have a different reaction when you look at this. So it's so much fun. Yeah.
That's a great styling tip in itself for anybody too, isn't it? Is that if you're really stuck on where you should go, if you can find a piece of art that you love, you know, which really has the colours that you like, and also maybe the direction, because it's true, isn't it, that if somebody's looking at a really abstract print that's quite modern and sort of, you know, stepping outside the box a little bit, that might also be an indicator as to how you're going to manage the rest of the selection, say for a living room. And also the color is a big thing, and like you were saying, oh, I hate that because I can't stand that color, might be teal blue or royal blue, whatever. And that's a good way to kind of go, okay, for anybody actually, starting point art. I always take art as a cue.
Usually I would too. This was quite a reverse project.
Different, yeah. That's not exactly like that. Also, the styling is fabulous here. I think it takes.
Thank you.
I think it takes when you use it, when you're quite relaxed in your styling, you don't just have 3 brass geometric looking, jars on the table. This takes a bit of, is this easy for you to do, Sophie? If you like this one here, also the way you do your florals is very organic and it seems like a lot of natives used. Is that an easy process for you as a decorator?
Yes.
It is.
It's like playtime for me.
What about you, Tania?
Yeah, look, I'm a lover of natives as well. And yeah, there's nothing more I love to do on a regular Sunday to get some, just do some styling. So take off everything off the mantelpiece and just have a bit of a fiddle and a faff and reorganize things and regroup things. And yeah, certainly the natives, I've got a lot of natives in my garden, so I pick a lot of those and display them. So yeah, much like Sophie.
I think sometimes, do you think we get stuck sort of just keeping it the way it is for 2 years?
Yeah.
Do you ever go into a client's home and you've seen it's exactly the way you left it 5 years?
Yes, which is such a lovely compliment.
It is a lovely compliment.
The joy when somebody has added in some extra flourishes or some treasures that they've found along the way. It's like, yes, you get it. Yes.
Yeah.
You're living in this space and really enjoying it. And I think that's what I like about the coffee table styling here with this sofa is that you can see how easy it would be to live in that room. It's, the coasters are there ready to go. The candles are ready to light if you like. And yes, that floral arrangement might be a bit big to see the TV, but it's very easy to move and then it's really easy to put back.
Put it on the dining table or something.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. These are beautiful. I'm just going to move along. I mean, I'm a lover of colour, Tania.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that, Sophie. I'm a lover of colour, so when I see a lot of your images, actually both of you guys are very versatile. That was the one thing I realised, is that you guys can do either or.
Yes.
So I mean, I love colour, so when I see the colour, I go a bit crazy. But tell us about the way you put together if you're creating a vignette, Tania.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Again, tell us about the one with the looks like resin pieces there, and then you've got a beautiful little low pot plant and then a lovely bit of art. It's not overly fussy, is it?
No, it's not. I think what I like to do is go with an odd number, like what Sophie was saying before, and work with maybe 3, 5 or 7 pieces, and that's it with a vignette. And actually have an allocated space. So that one with the lamp is actually on a buffet. So a little low piece of art that actually relates to what's below it and what's beside it with the lamp. I think you've got to actually have all the pieces talking to each other. And similarly on the right, you've got the dogwood blooms in the vase, and then below that, directly, quite close proximity, you've got the beautiful decorative tray, and then the teapot and the candle in the little tiny dish. So grouping them together with like colours and patterns. That's pattern, colour and shape they're the 3 main things to think about when you're styling.
I love how you've layered all the patterns on top of each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what, again, Tania, I mean, you just have this sort of sense, don't you? Like, I can see there's a few colours in there. It's not just sticking to a very uniform 3, but
that's right.
It's the patterns too that work well together and mixing them up. The other thing I love is, I think this is something we can do more of at home if we're just here on the weekend. You don't need to have a pot of tea, hot and ready to drink, to be able to just put out a beautiful tray like you've got here with a really gorgeous teapot, a candle, and a little sort of, I don't know what you call that, little saucer. Yeah, a lot of us would probably think very practically, oh, well, why would I have a teapot out if I'm not having tea? But that's where you can bring styling in and not have have it be so black and white, you know, go to the coffee table maybe and have a try of some of these ideas. It is a theme, isn't it, Sophie, Tania, that, you know, the odd numbers are really preferable if you're going to create something that kind of works. Like two pieces together tend to look unfinished, don't they?
Yes.
But when you put the third in, and especially if you've got different heights, like with your lovely vignette, Tania, with the, you know, you're hanging jewellery on there, I think.
Yeah,
and then, you know, and also too, it looks like that could be the client's own sort of watercolor they've done, and very unfussed. I don't know if that was the case or where that came from, or it could be just something you've picked up, but it's not complicated. It doesn't feel like it's overly fussy. You know, and especially I don't know if you did the wall color, Tania, but it just kind of everything works really beautifully. You painted the wall that color?
Yes.
Oh, it's lovely, the color, isn't it?
It's a very deep olive.
I'm hoping that we get back into really saturated colours in the home, because you know how we're really black and white at the moment? Everything's white again. It used to be taupe and coffee colours 10 years ago. We're now into this white face, and white's lovely, but I tell you what, I hope we get really into that saturated colour and use it more.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because it's so effective. I'm just going to jump on. Kitchen and dining rooms. Can you just, Sophie, go through this one? Because I was a bit sort of shocked.
It's gorgeous.
What happened? I should point out that down there in my left, I don't know about you guys, is it your right? There's the little cat. That's their kitchen, obviously modern kitchen.
Yep, that's a dog. Yep.
And then if it was a regular Joe, it might be a little bit plain, but you've gone in and thrown that out the window. So tell me about what happened here.
So this is an inner city apartment.
Yes. Oh, fantastic.
And the client wanted to have graffiti on the wall.
How cool.
Yeah. So she loved the artist Be Free, who is the graffiti artist that did that work.
It's original.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
And
great.
I specified all the soft furnishings, and then the artist came in and made it, saw the concept that I had created and did the painting while everything was in production.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
I bet they were thrilled.
It's an awesome space. Yeah.
It's certainly not your average.
Really well. It's quite controversial. It's not for everyone, and it's very vibrant. There's no shy colours here.
I absolutely love it, and I think
pops.
Sorry, if you can go there with that and have the courage to do that, it's amazing. And everything about what you've added in, or you said that you actually did you choose the colour of the couch and everything first?
Yeah, I did the sofa and the rug. We started with the soft furnishings, absolutely. So the ceiling is actually in the main part, which is hard to see, is concrete. So we brought some of the I love repeating colours. I think there's something very comfortable about having links between things. So the kitchen had the black in it, and we had the concrete, and we also had the blonde timber. So you can see that in the soft furnishings, in the furniture, we've repeated those materials and colours.
Yeah, it looks amazing, Sophie.
Yeah.
Real
it looks really good. It looks really good. The other thing too, if I can just I mean, I love looking at all of the colour, and the mural's amazing, but just looking at the kitchen, if you look at the before, for people that want the styling ideas, I mean, a lot of the time we do have our cleaning products on the counter, and, you know, we're in the middle of this, we're in the middle of that. But, you know, it's cool if you want to think about your splashback and you're thinking, gee, I need to sort of smarten this up. You've got the chopping boards there. It's hard to see. I was trying to zoom in, and instead I went through the slides, but you've got a couple of that. If you can look at this, you've got some chopping boards there. You've got like a rectangular chopping board in the back.
And a round one.
And a round one. And then you've got a lovely, so there's that three. That's putting together in clusters of 3 situations. So then it looks like you've got some little, I don't know, tulips or something there.
Some beautiful hot pink tulips in one of those ivy muse bowls. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about people are coming over and you got yourself together, I mean, You've got some, oh, look, there's some wine there and cheeses by the look of it, or a cheese plate.
Do you know what? The client did that for me while we did the photo shoot. She's like,
really?
Eat, drink, eat.
Oh, God, she's...
Love it.
I'll give her my number, except she's in another state. And plus, she's your client, not mine. So that is fantastic. Like, how different to look at both of you ladies' work. It's you know, if I looked at an earlier image, Sophie, of maybe the soft, you know, greens and a little bit of, you know, it's great. But this is the other end of the spectrum altogether. Yep. This is the versatility of decoration and design.
Muted versus primary colours, absolutely.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm going to jump on. Oh, this is me. I think this is our last slide.
Beautiful. Oh, I love the cockatoos.
Yes.
Oh, we're over time anyway. I mean, we started late. I did this, I think, because of what I saw from you ladies. I think Tania had your cockatoo.
Yeah, yeah.
And are these parrots that I've put in here?
They look like parrots. Looks like a black
Major Mitchells.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to do is I like to use paint and put like a section, like a stripe.
That's gorgeous, Adam, what you've done there. Yeah.
Thanks, darling. And I like to do a darker, like use colour.
Yeah.
That's kind of a signature. So for this one, I just put the 3 birds in there in those colours. And again, did I miss your... You know what I've done? I wanted to show it. I've done the contrast with the dining chairs with the back, the fabric at the back being different to the front.
Oh, you have
That's a dining room.
Beautiful.
I don't want to get away. I think I must have missed out. Tania, I was trying to find your...
I think it's still coming.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking this is the last slide. Because I wanted to show your upholstery, Tania, because I think it's really lovely.
Yep.
But that's what I did here. Pardon me. I like to have a block of colour, and I like to encourage people to take a little bit of risk with paint because you know you're not putting up all of this crazy wallpaper on 4 walls. It's going to cost you a bomb for the paper and then the labour to do it. If you want to make an impact, I find that putting some sort of striped frame in a colourway. You don't have to be that dramatic. You can do it in a lighter sort of just contrasting colours, or you can go quite dramatic like this. And then I like to play around with fabrics as well. And the reason I put this one up, Tania, is because I really liked what you've done here.
Oh, yes.
I just love these images. Can you tell us about this? Because I think we have a before image here.
Yes, on the top left with the old table that was just really sad, and the upholstery was really tired, like there was no cushioning on the chairs at all. The client had actually picked up this setting, I think it was on Marketplace, and they really loved the retro feel. In fact, this was actually in the same property where the cat was on the sofa that earlier.
Oh, yes.
And so I wanted to keep in with the orange theme, and so we went a little bit out there with the fabric, that the back and the front of the seat, sorry, the top part of the back, we did in a beautiful velvet or a flocked velvet, and for more practical reasons, we actually did a vinyl on the seat.
Oh, really?
That's great, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's a textured velvet, so it's vinyl, and it's got like it almost looks like a woven fabric, but it's a vinyl, because this lady's got 2 teenage boys, and she wanted something really practical. So yeah, we went about, my master upholsterer, he redid them, and his idea was to put the big chunky studs on the side, which I think really works well with the chair.
Ah, they weren't studded before, the chairs.
Oh, they were, but they were smaller. So
Small.
he just upscaled it because of the the chunkiness. And yeah, we just continued that orangey colour and the teal through, because this is an adjacent room to that previous room with the cat on the sofa. And so yeah, it actually came out so beautiful, and the client was absolutely over the moon with how it all came together.
I love it, Tania. I think you've done an amazing job. And I think, how often do you see these sort of quirky chairs people have? And they've got them in old cream,
Yeah.
Nice cream. Or they want to update it and they think of just doing a nice new cream. Nice cream. And I'm thinking, go crazy, put pattern, use orange, use blue.
Yeah.
And I always think these type of chairs that have so much character look even better when you go even harder with the pattern and colour, don't you think?
That's it. Yeah, it gives it real personality and punch.
What do you think, Sophie?
I had a client with some chairs that were quite similar, and we put pink flamingos on it.
Oh.
Did you? I love it. Oh God, I wish you had a photo. You haven't got a photo?
I'll show you it later. Yeah.
Show me it later. This is stunning, and just the styling too. Like, you know, how fun to come in and have this fabulous runner, which really sort of takes its cue from the fabric you've used. All these punchy colours. I love orange, Tanya. I don't know if you're a bit of an orange fan. I am.
Yeah, I love orange.
And then you got the lovely cake stand, and I mean it's styled, but also too, I kind of think, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a runner down the table and some plates out and some forks, and you don't even have to have really anybody coming over. But I love that kind of, you know, as if you're pending some sort of lovely event, which we're all going to be looking forward to after COVID's over, getting everybody together again.
Indeed.
Drinking wine with friends in person.
Yeah, together. And I'll have to come to Melbourne, wherever you guys are, and we've got to get together.
I think so. Yeah.
And I love the peacock feathers.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's a bit of an ode to the 70s and, you know, that retro feel, because that was something that was quite, you know, people used to decorate their homes with peacock feathers back then, you know. So, yeah.
Very good. So that's the last one. So if I had to recap, I think if anyone wants to take anything away, you're going to see, you know, use odd numbers as a guide. So, and different heights. Like we've seen some lovely images from Sophie and Tanya with some really lovely little sort of areas in the home where, and this is, you can see the middle image from Tanya there. You've got the larger vase. So really large, medium, low. And then, you know, don't be afraid of using colour as well. And then also too, a lovely thing that Sophie, you do is you really break up, you know, all of those square rectangle sort of pieces, and you have this lovely curve. You take away the rectangle mirror, you put in the round, and you have the corresponding coffee table, which just feels a lot more comfortable to live and breathe around. So
I think that's a really key thing, is that it needs to be easy to live with.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Not too contrived and not, like that's something I've always got in the back of my mind, is always thinking about the clients and how they live in the space, you know,
exactly.
Whether they've got young children, older children, or if they're retired and it's just the two of them, or just a single person. I think it's paramount to think about the way they're going to live in their home.
Beautiful. So that's our last slide. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Tanya from Green Room Interiors, and Sophie. Sophie, it is...
My beautiful abode.
My beautiful abode. So look out if you're in Melbourne. Have a look out for I'll put links to you guys, your websites there in the notes after this, and have a look out if you're in do we say Melbourne? Is it Melbourne?
Yeah, eastern suburbs.
Eastern, Sophie?
Yep, eastern suburbs. Yep.
Eastern suburbs of Melbourne. Look out for this lady, for these two ladies. You know, really versatile, and I've just really enjoyed looking at all the different ideas and the colours used, and it's just been really fun and interesting. Ladies, what have you got planned for the weekend?
Tanya?
Oh, not much. Staying home.
Staying home.
I've been doing a lot of tending to my plants, my jungle that I'm developing, and the odd time where I can get to Bunnings, I'm buying plants and potting mix and pots. So a little bit of that this weekend. What about you, Sophie?
Do you know what? The last time I wore this outfit was when I went out with my girlfriends for drinks, and we ended up doing karaoke. So
you've had a glass of wine, so you're on your way.
So after this video Zoom finishes, I'm starting a new one with my girlfriends, and I'm going to pour another glass of wine. Friday night drinks.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, which I know you're both
dying
to ask,
yes.
What am I doing? Gosh, I've got to do something tomorrow. I think I'm having someone over for dinner. My one person I'm allowed to have within 1.5 meters of me.
Good.
Yeah.
No, I am. I'm having my best friend for dinner. And tomorrow I'm just going to be cleaning. So there you go.
Yeah. What it is, isn't it?
Well, ladies, I've really enjoyed that. And I hope you'll join me another time to have a look at some other gorgeous images. Yes. And I just want to wish everybody a fantastic and fun weekend. Even if you're inside, find a way to have some fun. Have a play with your coffee table styling. Have a playback. This video can go on and on. So go back and have a look at some of the basic principles there, and then some of the fun colorways that aren't so obvious that we've seen used. All different styles here, which has been really cool to enjoy this afternoon over a glass of wine. So thank you, Tania, and thank you, Sophie. It's been lovely.
Thank you,
I'm
Adam.
wishing you a wonderful weekend. I'm going to say
I'm finished now.
Bye. Oh, you're finished?
Need a top up.
Me too. Me too. Sophie, you and I top up. Tania?
Yes.
There you go.
Thanks
Bye,
so
ladies.
much, Adam.
Thanks
You're
for
a
having us,
fabulous
Adam.
host.
See ya. Have a great weekend.
Take care. Bye.